Hello class, this is Professor Sven Nordstrom speaking to you today about how to get into graduate school in speech-language pathology or audiology. The first question you may be asking yourself is, can I get into graduate school? Well, I'm here to tell you, yes. There are approximately 300 different accredited graduate programs in speech-language pathology in the United States of America, and somewhere around 70 or so graduate programs in audiology. If you want to stay in Texas, there are approximately 17 graduate programs in speech-language pathology right here in the Republic, and 5 Doctorate of Audiology programs as well. If you want more information on these graduate programs, you can feel free to visit EdFind at the ASHA website. A second question that you might have would be, what are the most important factors that these programs take into account when looking at graduate applicants? Well, in no particular order, the most important factors that admissions committees consider are the GPA in the COSD major, the overall GPA, and sometimes they give more weight to the GPA in the last 60 hours or so, the verbal and quantitative scores of the GRE, the writing scores of the GRE, the letters of recommendation, and in addition to this, the personal statement or letter of intent that you include as part of your application. There are a number of additional factors that one should consider when they're thinking about applying to different programs. For example, will I be competitive for admission to this program? Well, some of the things that you might choose to assess are the average GPA, the average GRE, and what is the selectivity of each program. I will teach you how to find those. Will you be trained well at these programs? For example, do students graduate on time? Are they offered well-rounded clinical experiences? This means with both adults and children. Do the PhD faculty actually teach courses? Or would it be their doctoral assistants or even master's students teaching the courses that you will be taking? And then, of course, you may want to ask, do they offer specialty tracks? For example, TCU offers the emphasis in bilingual speech-language pathology track. Another important question for many of you will be, do they offer funding? What is the percentage of students who get this funding that they offer? And how much funding do they actually get when it is offered to them? And then, of course, a final very important question that you will want to ask is, what is the tuition cost? Something very interesting, many state programs have in-state rates for out-of-state students depending on where you are coming from. For example, if one wanted to go to the University of Arkansas, they actually offer in-state rates to those who live in the great state of Texas. Class, these next slides illustrate how I would like you to approach the process of narrowing down those schools to which you will apply. I think I just used somewhat of a Scottish accent there. I have no idea. My accent is changing as we speak. Anywho, these are schools from the Republic of Texas. I've listed in these next 2 slides all of the schools. You will notice that I am listing the reported average GPA of those admitted, the number of those who applied to these schools, and the number of people who they actually admit from the pool of those who applied. From the number of applications and the number of those admitted, I can then create a ratio, which I have termed selectivity, in order to determine how competitive the admissions process is to these universities. For example, if you look at Texas State University, I believe they're called the Armadillos, you will find that they have a selectivity of 9%. That would make them the toughest university in the state to get into. The Armadillos. Okay. As we look at some of the other schools in the Republic of Texas, you will see that not every school has a selectivity ratio of 9%. And so if we then look at the selectivity ratio, and in addition to that, the GPA and GRE scores that are median or average for those who are admitted to the program, one can start to get a good idea of their competitiveness as an applicant to a number of these different programs. Now, unfortunately for us, the University of North Texas and Lamar University, which I anticipate is in the city of Lamar, if there is a city of Lamar, Texas, have not reported data for which we can assess if we will be competitive or not. Why they have not done this, I have no idea, but we are left to wonder how competitive those universities are. Class, this next set of slides shows schools which I have labeled the big dogs. These are schools which every student in the United States of America wishes to apply to, because they are under the delusion that the U.S. News and World Report rankings of the top 10 schools translates to those which will give them the best training at the master's level. If you look at the selectivity rating of a number of these schools, it might surprise you. However, I caution you to also pay attention to the GPA and the GRE of those who are admitted. Typically, I have found that to be admitted to one of these programs, one must have a GPA between 3.8 and 4.0, have a GRE score approximating 400, and I know that the GRE does not go to 400, but one must have that anyway, and it also helps if one has an IQ of 150 or above in order to be admitted to one of these programs. So the point here is, please feel free to apply to these programs, but have others on your list just in case. Now, students, I also want you to have an open mind. Here are some other universities which have outstanding master's level programs, which you may or may not have heard of, and yet will train you at a very high level to be a speech-language pathologist. And if you pay attention to the selectivity ratio, you'll notice that most of these on this list are not quite as selective as the Texas State University armadillos. And consider those universities with selectivity ratios that are somewhat more reasonable to be on your list. Now, students, some of you may be willing to travel far and wide to go to graduate school. And if one is willing to do this, one must also keep in consideration the culture of the region to which you will be traveling. And so I have invited some of my friends who are students from schools in these different regions to give you an idea of what the culture is like in different regions of the United States to which graduate programs belong, where you may be applying. First up is one of my former students from the East Coast.
Hey there, I'm Brian. I'm from Boston. If you come to Boston, we like to park a car in Harvard Yard. After we do our clinic, we may go have a beer, go have some baked beans, and do all that here in Boston. You know, if you come here, you do fine, forget about it.
Students, I have no idea why Brian ended with an Australian accent.
Hey, my name's Billy Jack. I'm down here in Mississippi. If you come down south, some of these schools down here in southeastern United States, you know, we like our sweet tea, we like our biscuits, we like grits. So, you know, come on down here, you southern United States. We got a good school down here now. We don't be joking. And hey, we polite down here. We are polite down here. Y'all come on down to the southern United States. We got Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee,
and Louisiana. Don't forget about Louisiana now. Y'all come on down here. We welcome you down south. Hey there, students. My name is Ted Johnson. I'm up here at school in the Midwest. I'm actually going to Marquette. I came to Marquette on the Flayhive Scholarship for synchronized swimmers who want to be speech-language pathologists. So it is cold up here in the Midwest, up here over in the Great Lakes region, but I want to tell you what's really nice about being up here is that when it gets cold, you can drink warm beverages. Oh, hot cocoa is so good on a snowy winter day. But here's the thing, if you come to the Midwest, you must either be a Packer fan or a Bear fan. Now, I don't want to sway you one way or the other, but I would root for the Packers if I were you. That's just a suggestion. You don't have to do that. Y'all have a great day.
Hola, my name's Ted Brewski. I'm down here in SoCal. That's Southern California for all those who don't know what's going on down here. So it's so radical, man. We've got like waves here. We've got sun here. We've got waves here, and there's some sun here too. So it's like, man, after you do your clinic for the day, you just come down to the beach and you catch a wave and you sit in the sun and if you come down here, we have waves and we have sun and it's. Wait a second! I see a shark. Is that a shark grabbing my leg? Oh my goodness!
Well, class, that was quite frightening, and I hope that Mr. Brewski is okay. So let me conclude this portion of the presentation by giving you some summary advice. First of all, your number one goal for applying to graduate school is to get in somewhere. And once you have achieved your first goal, you may then go after your second goal, which is to go where you're going to be best trained at the graduate level. Now, my advice to you in making a list of school is to send out applications to a minimum of 10 programs. Among those programs, I would suggest you pick 2 or 3 of your dream schools. These may be among the big dogs, which we have discussed previously. Pick 3 or 4 with an average GPA and an average GRE that are somewhat close to yours and whose selectivity ratio is not that of Texas State University. And then in addition to this, choose 4 or 5 with much lower selectivity ratios to which you are going to be a strong applicant. Class, that concludes this portion of the ratio. I am now going to turn this over to my good friend Billy Bob. Not the Billy Bob that you've already met. This is a different Billy Bob. And Billy Bob is going to explain to you how you find information on the ASHA website, which will help you narrow down which schools you will be applying to. It has been a pleasure speaking with you today. I turn you over to Mr. Billy Bob.
Well, hey, y'all, this is Billy Bob Forrest Gump Johnson. I'm here to tell you about how to go to that ASHA website there and find you some information about these different graduate programs you might be applying to. Well, first thing that you need to do is open up a web browser, go up to the search bar thingy, and type in www.asha.org. And then from there, all you need to do is in the search bar type in EdFind. Once you hit enter, you're going to see a screen just like this. And what you're going to do from this point is take that little mouse thingy, put that cursor thingy up there where it has the first link that says EdFind, and click that humdinger. That's right. You just press your little index finger down on that mouse, and something magical happens. Something magical happens at that point. Because when you press that little mouse thing down with that cursor over that first link thing, watch this. Bam! This comes up. And so this is like a search screen. And so from this screen, what you're going to do, because what you want to do is get into a master's program. So you are going to take your little cursor and go to the little third bullet thingy down and click that little circle dot thing that says master's programs, right? So you're going to do that. And if you want to, you can select a state, but you can just select all, and then you hit that other search button down there. Bam! Look at this. This is a listing of every single graduate program that has been accredited by the American Speech Language Hearing Association. All right? So I go down all the way to the end of the alphabet. Now, there ain't no program in the state that begins with Z, but you know what I'm talking about. All right? So what you need to do is you just choose a program. So I'm going to click on one right here. Now, I forgot which one I clicked on, but we're going to find out real quick because I'm going to click on it, just pretend, like, bam. And then here we go. Okay, I clicked on Auburn, War Eagle. And what we're going to look at now is some of this information Auburn has here. Okay, so first of all, it tells a little bit of information about the school in general. Now, my little mouse here has a rollerball, and it does something magical. When I take my index finger and roll down, this whole screen goes down. I don't know how it does it. I think Steve Jobs has something to do with it. But anyway, I'm going to roll my little rollerball down here to get more information about this school. Now we've seen some information, right? Now it's talking about the master's degree program at Auburn University. Now I'm looking at the screen. I can't even read it, so I can't tell you what's on this. But I think you get an idea of the information that you can find on this screen. It tells you about deadlines. It tells you about the number of applicants. It tells you a little bit about funding they may offer. And if you take a little index finger and do that rollerball down, you get more information such as the average GPA of those who are admitted, the average GRE of those who are admitted. And do you remember old Professor Sven talking about that selectivity ratio thing? Well, here's where you get some of the data so you can calculate that selectivity ratio thing. Now, I am watching this Windows Movie Maker program. I got another slide coming up. I have no idea at all what it says. Okay, here's more information. Here's more information by rolling the rollerball thing down that you can get on Auburn University or any other program that you want. And all the data that you want in the world that will help you make a decision as to which program is going to be on your list is found at this ASHA EdFind site. And that's all I got to say about that. Hey, it's been a pleasure speaking to y'all. Y'all come back now, you hear?